Now, as business leaders move on from firefighting the disruption caused by COVID-19 and the resulting accelerated adoption of digital services, they're starting to look to the future.
The Lloyds Bank Financial Institutions Sentiment Survey, quite a mouthful, quizzed more than 100 senior decision makers at global banks, insurers and asset managers. It provides a fascinating insight into post-lockdown strategic plans and notable initiatives that are rising up the agenda.
Well, to look at the survey in more detail, earlier we spoke to Adrian Walkling, the Head of Financial Services at Lloyds Bank Commercial Banking, and Andrea Melville. She's the Head of Global Transaction Banking, Commercialisation and Propositions at Lloyds Bank Commercial Banking. And I began by asking Adrian about the outlook for the economy and the industry overall in the year ahead.
Surprisingly, the effect of the pandemic has been to drive down optimism from our respondees versus 12 months ago. And obviously, they do expect growth to worsen. So 2/3 are thinking both about the impact on the UK economy and also on the financial industry sector itself, with a sort of an expectation that the growth there will worsen. Now, that said, 2/3 of respondents also pointed out that they expect business levels to maintain or grow, and the same for employment levels as well. So definitely signs for optimism there as well.
When we look ahead to 2021 and beyond, what can we glean as the industry's top strategies in terms of dealing with the challenges?
9 out of 10 respondents named their number one strategic priority as technology investment. And actually 62% of respondents are actually looking to increase their technology spend through the next 12 months. And that's in spite, obviously, of the pandemic.
And Andrea, let's stick with the technology issue. Were you surprised at the fact that the tech spend was the number one priority for most of the respondents?
It's not a surprise at all. We're seeing COVID-19 accelerating the trends that were already existing in the market around digitisation. And for us as an organisation, when we think about the aims that sit behind this, it's really around making sure that we understand what our customers want and need. And at Lloyds, that's about keeping customers at the heart and the start of the process. It's also about having a lot of cultural curiosity. So making sure that we are listening to clients, that we're doing proof of concepts, that we're doing a lot of trials and tests to make sure that we're getting everything right. And the drivers that sit behind this from a tech perspective are all the things that you would imagine. So, this is APIs, it's a move to cloud. It's about reducing friction in those journeys for our clients.
I'm glad you mentioned APIs because, again, returning to the survey, it figured quite heavily when you had something like 60% of the respondents who said that this was one of the innovations that they thought would deliver the most business growth over the next 3 years in line with open banking. So what is the trend that's going on here? And from Lloyd's perspective, how have they followed it in terms of the structure within their own organisation?
Yeah, so open banking and APIs have obviously been on the agenda of financial institutions for a long time. And the Open Banking Implementation Entity reported in July their latest numbers on API usage. And it won't be a surprise to anyone that those numbers are continuing to grow, which is showing that the demand is there, the users are there, but also that we're getting more propositions and more services coming within to this space. And at Lloyds, it's been a really key part of our journey, APIs and open banking, because there's a huge amount of power that sits inside your banking data. And open banking APIs give that power to customers and to other providers in the market to create propositions that are really spot on. For us as an organisation on the API front, we have a payables API, which we've launched last year. And we've put now more than £1 billion of payments through that payables API. So, we're really proud and really excited about how it's going. But what makes it so powerful is that the API allows us to actually embed inside our clients' workflow. So it is allowing our clients to create a much better experience for their end customers. And that's what we're really about, trying to understand exactly what is needed in this space and using technology as an enabler to help us get there.
Okay, so let's sort of follow through with that, because Adrian, look, the respondents were questioned fairly forensically. What were some of the key takeaways that you were able to glean in terms of their business strategy and their sense of being able to cope?
There's a great degree of resilience. I mean, I think we saw an amazing mobilization of both people and resources during the early stages of the pandemic back in the first half of the year. And the respondents actually have leaned into that as well in terms of thinking about the future now. So 9 out of 10 are still looking at more flexible working patterns for their colleagues to make sure that they can obviously continue to deliver the services and offerings from those companies, but also help colleagues cope with the effects of the pandemic at the same time. 80% of respondents are also looking at how to use digital channels even more with their communications, both with clients and with colleagues. And indeed, that's where some of that technology spend that I spoke about earlier is likely to appear. And then lastly, and probably no surprise as a result, 7 out of 10 expect to spend less on corporate travel going forward as well, certainly over the next 12 months ahead. So I think we can all look forward to many more virtual sessions like the one we're doing now, Juliet.
We're psyched up for this already because it has become part of the new normal that everyone talks about. But look, Andrea, when you talk about that response and coping with the future, you can't exclude the fintechs from the conversation. Now, the survey showed that over 90% of respondents said that they would either maintain or indeed boost their fintech capability via acquisitions and partnering. How do you think that partnering up with the fintechs enables better use of that data? Because it is a goldmine, isn't it?
No, it really can be. I mean, fintechs are so incredibly important, and we see partnering with fintechs as part of our strategy to create the best propositions for the customers that we have. So, partnering with fintech means that we can leapfrog some technology. It means that we can accelerate all of our test and learn approach, and we can do it at our cost of change also is positively impacted, both when it comes to pound sterling spent, but also time. So partnering with fintechs, really important for us. And we explore this along a lot of different sets. And if I focus in on data in particular, it means that we can bring in external data sets, and it means we can also look at how to standardize data sets in ways that we haven't been able to do before. It also means that we're looking and exploring things like synthetic data, graph technology, and data matching, all of those sort of fun things to really help improve the propositions that we have for our clients. So working with fintechs and data, there is a huge amount of opportunity to create fantastic propositions for clients.
Okay, so all the more reason to be optimistic going forward. I'm loving your optimism, guys. Thank you so much for it. We need it on this day. But look, Adrian Walkling, Head of Financial Services, Lloyds Bank Commercial Banking, and Andrea Melville, Head of Global Transaction Banking, Commercialisation and Propositions, Lloyds Bank Commercial Banking. Thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully we'll touch base with you in the not too distant future, perhaps discussing another survey or follow-up.
Thanks for having us.